to death. Then it started to snow, so I got down from the trees and start heading for the truck. And that's when I seen it there, the 30-point buck.
30-point buck.
KFGO Morning Crew, Doug Leier, Amistadi, 6:40 a.m. on Friday morning. And big-time baseball players have their walk-up songs. And Nick Simonson is big-time Dakota Edge Outdoors. And he is a longtime friend of the Mighty 790 KFGO, joining us this morning. Good morning to you, Nick. How you doing, bud?
Great, Doug. The numbers have been crunched, and it's 69,500 for deer hunting this weekend.
Wow. 69,500. So then you take, like, when you're a numbers guy, so then you take those 69,500, and they may have a spouse, a husband or a wife that may or may not deer hunt, and kids, and then in neighbors, and you spread that out across the numbers in Minnesota and in South Dakota. It's hard not to have a connection to the heritage and the legacy that deer hunting is, not just in North Dakota, but Minnesota, South Dakota, and the upper Midwest, Nick.
Yeah, and nationwide. It's a phenomenal time of year. I think it's a time that brings people together, even in a 2020 where we can't be together as much as we like, but there's still that connection. There's still that undercurrent of being out there in the field as part of something greater than just the individual hunter. So it's an awesome time for anyone who loves to hunt and be in the outdoors.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of social media posts from friends out there talking about the tradition that's been carried down through the generations. They learned from their parent, they hunted with their grandparent, and now they have kids and grandkids, and those traditions are continuing. I mean, what better memories could you be making?
Yeah, none. I think this falls in line with Thanksgiving and Christmas, and obviously just passed with Halloween. It's sort of just another domino in that great time of year where we make the transition into the holidays. And you know, for some, when I was growing up in Valley City and I was not a deer hunter and I was in high school, it seemed like a holiday because 3/4 of the school was gone.
You know, in this era of social media where the kids are liking their gamings and their phones and whatnot, it's still cool to see how this tradition of deer hunting has survived, isn't it?
It is, and there's a lot of excitement. I think it is a big draw to millennials and Gen Zers who are looking for that experience. And, you know, there's a big movement right now where kids and younger adults are wanting to learn where their food comes from. So there's that connection with the locavore movement and showing what you've done and showing what you've accomplished. And I think for folks who don't come up in a hunting experience or want to learn more about it, it's a prime target for social media, sharing those adventures, whether it's just a picture of the sunrise or that first doe or that first buck. There's a lot of great things that can be shared, and I think that's helping connect younger generations with the outdoor experience.
Nick Simonson is a Valley City, North Dakota native, connections to Detroit Lakes, and now in Bismarck with Dakota Edge Outdoors is his brand for the outdoors, hunting, fishing, conservation, huge on that. I learn something every time I visit with you, whether it's on the radio or on the phone, Nick. And maybe Bonnie has heard of this term before, but this is the first time I've heard the term. What was it? Locavore?
Locavore. Yep. Whether you're raising carrots or potatoes in your garden, or you're out goose or duck hunting, or you are out deer hunting, it's the individuals who are looking to find a way to be self-sufficient and raise their own food, harvest their own food, and it's really grown in popularity, I think, throughout the country. And I don't want to tie it to a hipster movement or a change in mentality there, but there are a lot of folks, and popular podcasters like Joe Rogan, they really push this idea of it's important for us to know where that hamburger came from or where that chicken came from, or more importantly, where the deer or the pheasant or the duck that's on your table came from. And I think this hunting season in particular, there's so much of a chance to get involved with not only the hunting and the shooting and the cleaning, but also the way that you process and prepare your deer.
It's interesting, Nick, because I legitimately was having a conversation with what I would call a millennial media reporter yesterday, and he was talking about how much he loves deer jerky, and he wasn't a hunter. I said, well, there's the hook. Is right now, if you like the taste of deer jerky, then that's the next step to becoming a deer hunter. And if you want to gravitate towards free range food, what is more organic and naturally produced than deer or grouse, Nick?
That's right. Locally raised, cage-free. It's a perfect pitch point.
I love that. And hunting is for the young. and the old. I was telling Doug and our listeners, my father is 91 years old. He is going out deer hunting. He's on the back 40. He just has to walk out into his backwoods, and he's continuing to hunt, which I love. We just got a text in this morning. Somebody has a son, a first-time hunter. He's going out with Dad and Grandpa, and he was so excited last night he couldn't sleep. He actually asked if he could have some melatonin to put himself to sleep. There is a lot of excitement.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish my kids would ask for melatonin. But yeah, there's tons of excitement the same way. Up at 3:30 this morning, just partial adrenaline. Couldn't overcome that. Had to get a few little things done before I set for the day. But I think there's something about opening day, whether it starts at noon like we have here on Friday in North Dakota, or it's a Saturday morning thing in Minnesota. It's tough to fight that off. You're always fighting against sleep and the excitement. Like I said, it's similar to Christmas Day. It's a lot of fun. And like I said, for the old and the young. And you hear a lot of great stories of those 80, 90, 100-year-olds who have been in the field for 50, 60, 70 years. And there's such a vital font of information and tradition and history and, of course, most importantly, fun stories that they can share.
Dakota Edge Outdoors has a great deer hunters checklist. You need to check that out that Nick Simonson put together. And he joins us here on the Mighty 790 KFGO with deer season right here starting at 12 noon. How has the pandemic changed your deer opener of 2020, your deer season this year, Nick?
It's very much the same. I'm a solo hunter. I have one change this year. I actually have a neighbor who's been fairly inactive in hunting, and since he moved to our block, we've connected, and I've taken him out on pheasant and grouse hunts. I said, hey, why don't you put in for a deer tag, and I'll take you to the spot that I hunt, and then we have a couple fallbacks. I like to hunt public land. So I tend to hunt public land. I tend to hunt by myself, but I think particularly in the pandemic, it is so very important that we continue our efforts to connect with at least one other person in the season and try to get more people out there experiencing this or re-experiencing it. So it's changed a little bit in the fact that in the back of my head it said, hey, I have an individual who still wants to get involved. We can socially distance. We can drive our trucks out and park, and one of us can take one hill and the other can take another and overlook this valley. And that was how I was taught. I was taught by a man in Barnes County who took me hunting and said, this is how I do it. You can adjust it from here. And I want to pass that tradition on. And maybe the pandemic has spurred that. But I think you're going to see a lot of folks socially distant but still together.
That's awesome. And also top of mind, safety. Keep safety top of mind as we are heading out hunting this weekend.
That's right. A wise man named Doug Leier once said, think twice and shoot once. And I think that's very, very important that we identify our target, what lies beyond it, what lies in front of it, and what might be around it before we take that shot. We have a lot of great technology. We have, strong optics now, binoculars, range-finding binoculars, very powerful scopes that allow you to see more of the field. So please be aware, especially on public land. I know I hunt public land almost exclusively, and part of the game is bumping into other hunters, and that's just how it goes. You need to be aware that you are not the only one. There may be hunters on neighboring properties, so be aware of your surroundings. Think twice, shoot once.
You get to pick one: jerky, sausage, sticks. What would you pick? What would be your favorite way to enjoy venison, Nick Simonson?
Oh, I would go with the jerky because it lasts long. You put some in, and as a recovering tobacco chewer from my foolish youth days, it's fun to have some in my mouth and just have something to occupy myself with. So, yeah, I'll go with jerky.
Stay safe. Good luck out there, bud. Thanks for joining us.
You bet. Have a great weekend.
You too. Nick Simonson, Dakota Edge Doors, joining us here on the KFGO